22 laps. We talk a lot about this circuit, but it is a super circuit. 5.340 kilometers, 3.318 miles. There's that front row. Chris Vermeulen, Nicky Hayden and Sete Gibernau. Row 2, the championship leader, Lawrence Capirossi, John Hopkins and the impressive Randy de Prunier. Row 3, Casey Stoner, started from pole 3 weeks ago in Qatar, Shinya Nakano and Colin Edwards. Row 4, Kenny Roberts Jr., Valentino Rossi, the world champion, and Tony Elias. It's Valentino Rossi's 160th Grand Prix appearance. Row 5, Makoto Tamada, Marco Melandri, the winner of the race last year, and Carlos Checa on that Tech 3 Yamaha. Row 6, the 250cc world champion Danny Pedrosa, Alex Hoffman and Cardoso. And row 7, all on his own, British rider James Ellison. The riders now out on their final sighting lap. It's maybe your first glimpse of the Istanbul Park circuit. And conditions, Mark, as you told us earlier, not perfect, but very much better than we've seen previously this weekend.
Yeah, it's probably the best conditions we've seen all day. The temperature's rising, the track's got a bit of heat into it, get those tyres up to speed, and this magnificent circuit, one of the best layouts in the world, whether you're on 4 wheels or 2 wheels. It's got off camber, it's got on camber, it's got uphill, it's got downhill, it's got the fastest corner in GP racing, the longest corner in GP racing. It's just one magnificent complex, and hopefully we're in for some sensational racing. The hairs on the back of my neck stand here at the start of the race as these guys, these booming 990cc bikes, all on full throttle on the limiter as they take off.
Yeah, they're up at turn 7 at the moment. They're on board with Valentino Rossi. Big race for Valentino Rossi because he's losing his way at the front of the championship at the moment, but just never discount him. Yamaha are obviously having their problems with the 2006 machine, but Rossi will never give up. He wants the challenge, he wants to be pushed to the limit, and he certainly is at the moment, as is this young man, Danny Pedrosa, the 250cc world champion, involved in a fabulous 250cc scrap here last year with Casey Stoner. In fact, Casey Stoner beat him just after a week after Pedrosa had beaten him in Australia to win the World Championship. Of course, Casey Stoner crashing out in that race. Make their way back down under the bridge. They break into the complex through the left and right. First it's left, and then it's right. And then it's a final left that brings them back into the start and finish straight. And I can tell you already, we've seen races won or lost here today. We've seen races in the past won or lost here. The red flag being shown. The gladiators arrive for round 3 of the MotoGP World Championship. We're in Turkey. We're at the Istanbul Park circuit, and we have an incredible front row of Chris Vermeulen, Nicky Hayden and Sete Gibernau.
All important for Vermeulen to get this Suzuki off the line quick and get it and stick with him and see what happens from there, because I'm sure the Hayden's the one that's going to have the bullet in his helmet and try and get there and make them lead, follow him.
Chris Vermeulen, for the very first time in his career, starts a MotoGP race in pole position. Alongside him, Nicky Hayden and Sete Gibernau. The red flag has disappeared. The Grand Prix of Turkey is about to get underway. The lights change, and it's a good start by Vermeulen. Vermeulen makes a great start down the outside. Can he hang in there to get into turn 1 first? He can. Sete Gibernau in second place. It looks like Nicky Hayden third and John Hopkins fourth.
Through this turn 2, now into turn 3, the little chicane, and backs it in already. Tyres a bit cold.
Chris Vermeulen leads the way up through turn 2, up towards turn 3, to the left and right. Got the starting one in pole position. Nicky Hayden right behind him. Looks like John Hopkins has now been in third place. But Sete Gibernau got it. Hopkins third, Sete Gibernau second, Nicky Hayden fourth. And Sete Gibernau trundling Chris Vermeulen, and Sete Gibernau takes the lead. Sete Gibernau takes the lead up at turn 7. Now leads the race on the Ducati. Vermeulen pushed a little bit wide. John Hopkins still in third place. Nicky Hayden in fourth spot. Casey Stoner also going well, just tucked in there behind Nicky Hayden. So Casey Stoner will be in fifth place. Loris Capirossi and Valentino Rossi has also made a pretty good start. But Vermeulen has made the start he wanted, but he's now been relegated to second place. Thinks about going up the inside there of Sete Gibernau, not able to do so. Through the left and right, pack stream through. It's Colin Edwards up into 8th place, Randy de Prunier 9th, Loris Capirossi, the championship leader, in 10th place. Valentino Rossi now moving up into 10th place. Carno 11, Elias in 12th. Through the 150, 160 mile an hour right-hander, down towards the complex for the first time. On the brakes. And it's Vermeulen that leads the way just from Gibernau. Hopkins trying to go up the inside there from Sete Gibernau. So Vermeulen back in front. Nicky Hayden in 4th place. Casey Stoner 5th. Into the left they come, into the start and finish straight for the very first time. And Vermeulen starts the race in pole position. He should cross the line after lap 1 in pole position. Gibernau though alongside him. The extra power of the Ducati takes him past. And John Hopkins now going up the inside of Vermeulen. Did he run it a little bit wide? No. So Hopkins now up into second place. Hayden is in 4th place. Stoner 5th. Melandri, Capirossi, Edwards, Rossi now in 9th spot. Sete Gibernau leads the way. John Hopkins 2nd. Chris Vermeulen 3rd. Vermeulen now coming under pressure from Nicky Hayden.
And a sight for sore eyes to see the Suzuki's up there near the front after so long they've been struggling. But it's looking like Stoner and Hayden will be putting the pressure on very shortly.
Hopkins hanging on to the rear wheel there of Sete Gibernau's Ducati. Gibernau the last man to bring success to Suzuki way back in 2001. Sorting itself out there. And there's Casey Stoner now has got up in front of Nicky Hayden. So Stoner got past in front of Nicky Hayden and sets after his countryman Chris Vermeulen. Stoner is absolutely flying in 4th place. Stoner behind the 2 Suzukis, so Sete Gibernau on the Ducati still leads the way. 20.5 laps to go, and Gibernau getting away at the front, and I think Stoner well aware of that. Up the inside of Chris Vermeulen. Stoner now tries to take over 3rd place, but Vermeulen won't let him. Nicky Hayden trying to go up the inside of Stoner, also not able to do so. There is Casey Stoner. We have a man running wide. It's Colin Edwards with Valentino Rossi in trouble. Valentino Rossi runs it wide. The saga continues for the world champion. Rossi now was in 9th place. He's surely lost that position. And here comes Loris Capirossi and Marco Melandri on the brakes. Marco Melandri has come from absolutely nowhere. Casey Stoner just blocks his path. It's all happening out there. Let's get it right. Gibernau, Hopkins, Vermeulen, Stoner. They cross the line. Melandri, Hayden, Capirossi, Edwards, Pedrosa, de Prunier, Nakano. We wait for Valentino Rossi. Rossi down in 14th place, would you believe? Valentino Rossi down in 14th place.
This is just confirming the trouble they've been having with the chatter, trying to get the thing to steer properly and get some confidence in the front end. Obviously, the choices they made this morning in the morning warm-up, they might have gone the wrong way, because that's the first time I've seen Rossi go backwards in a race in a long time.
And it's Nicky Hayden being pushed out wide there as well. So Nicky Hayden being pushed out wide on the turn, the complex coming into the start-finish area. He's down in 6th place. So Gibernau leads the way. Hopkins in 2nd place. Vermeulen having a great ride in 3rd place. Still preventing Casey Stoner to get through there. What a performance by the Suzukis. Then we have Marco Melandri and Sete Gibernau. Pole position last year, 3rd this year, only his 3rd ride on the Ducati. These are the 2 Suzukis. After those disasters in Qatar, putting up a great performance. Stoner lining up Vermeulen once again. On the brakes, can Stoner get through? No, he can't.
Down in the 2nd gear through there at about 100 kilometres an hour to get the good drive up through the back straight. They'll get up to 5th gear, 280 k's before they tip it in, settle the front at about 258 as they tip it through. And then accelerating through there up to over 300 kilometres an hour. The front wheel fighting to stay on the deck. The guys on the pegs trying to hold the thing down as they come down on the brakes down to about 77 kilometres an hour.
Nicky Hayden fights back now, chasing after Marco Melandri. It's the battle for 5th place. There is Nicky Hayden, touching that 7th successive podium finish. 17 behind him, the championship leader, Loris Capirossi, over the start and finish line. 19 laps to go. Giovinazzi still leads the way. Hopkins second, but Vermeulen still third. Stoner again trying to get up the inside of Chris Vermeulen, not able to do so.
Rossi now past the Martin, make the move up to 13 spots to give that Meccano a bit of hurry, who's been relegated by Elias and Depunio.
Yeah, Valentino Rossi still in 13th place. Problems for the world champion. Problems for the man making his 100th MotoGP appearance. No problems for these two fantastic Australians, Chris Vermeulen and Casey Stoner, fighting out for the moment the third place. It could be even higher. We ride with Casey Stoner. He really wants to get past Vermeulen. He's on the rumble strip. Now he's got the inside line on the brakes, and Casey Stoner takes over third place from Chris Vermeulen. Vermeulen fights back round the outside. Stoner holds his line. Casey Stoner now up into third place. Chris Vermeulen relegated to fourth and coming under big pressure from Marco Melandri and Nicky Hayden.
Nick, I've got Paul Denning, the team manager of the Whistler Suzuki team. Paul, what a marvellous start for you. This has been what you've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, our target's to finish the race, and our target's to score some decent points. And the initial lap 1 and 2 pace of John, in particular, and Chris has surprised me. Let's just see if John can drag along with Sete and try and stay in the front group. I don't think it's going to be easy as the tyre performance drops off, but no, the two riders have given me they can, so got to be happy with it.
I'll come back and see you later. That's Paul Denning, and he's happy being a bit philosophical at the moment, not getting too excited like some of us.
Here goes Marco Melandri upside the inside of Chris Vermeulen. So Chris Vermeulen now down in 5th place. Marco Melandri didn't like the wet yesterday, but riding very well in the dry condition. And Nicky Hayden also coming through. So Hayden has also come through. Vermeulen now just dropping off the pace a little bit as they come over the start and finish line. Melandri in 4th place, Hayden 5th, Vermeulen 6th, Loris Capirossi 7th, Edwards 8th, Pedrosa 9th, Elias 10th, Randy Depunio 11th, Valentino Rossi still in 12th place. Loris Capirossi now really on the charge. It's his teammate that leads the way. And I think, Mark, I'm just checking the timing monitor, but I actually think that it's Loris Capirossi up in 4th place. Let's just check things out. No, in fact, I'm wrong as always. Marco Melandri coming under increasing pressure from Nicky Hayden, then Chris Vermeulen, then Loris Capirossi, but it's his teammate, Sete Giovinazzi, that leads the way. We ride with Danny Pedrosa. Pedrosa actually having a much better ride. He's in 9th place and chasing after Colin Edwards. Started from nearly at the back of the grid, 16th fastest, but Danny Pedrosa didn't like the wet. But John Hopkins, you've got to say, is doing a brilliant job on Suzuki, and he is not letting Sete Giovinazzi get away. Of course, these two riders on Bridgestone tyres, and it's Casey Stoner in 3rd place on the LCR Honda on Michelin.
John Hopkins gave me a wink as I walked away from the grid there after talking to him, and he's very confident and just showing what they've done to this Suzuki. And when you're talking about Pedrosa, he's just got the fastest lap of the race too, Nick, so he's on the charge, although Edwards has got the fastest speed at 307 k's.
Yeah, 153.884 for Danny Pedrosa. We ride with Nicky Hayden, who's chasing very hard after Marco Melandri. There the two are. So break now for the left-hander. And Nicky Hayden has gone through. Nicky Hayden moves up into 4th place. Hayden chasing that 7th successive podium finish. He'd like to be even higher up. He's now into 4th place. He's got Casey Stoner in his sights. Into the start and finish straight they come. 17 laps to go of this 22-lap Grand Prix of Turkey. Sete Giovinazzi still leads the way. John Hopkins 2nd. Casey Stoner 3rd. Nicky Hayden now 4th. Marco Melandri 5th. Chris Vermeulen, Loris Capirossi, Colin Edwards, Danny Pedrosa with that fastest lap. In fact, the fastest lap of the race now has gone to Nicky Hayden, a 1:53.662. But Nicky Hayden, that's the fastest lap of the race. And Valentino Rossi now up into 9th place.
Just looking at the Michelin tyre charts there, Nick, Rossi's gone for a medium front and a medium rear, whereas Hayden is on a soft front and a medium rear. Most of them are electing to go for the soft front, so we'll see how that can last, and all of them on medium slicks at the rear.
Danny Pedrosa now getting in front of Colin Edwards and moving up into 8th place. Pedrosa didn't like the wet. It was his first real experience of MotoGP in the wet, but he is very fast indeed in the dry, as is Sete Giovinazzi at the front. John Hopkins hanging in there in 2nd place. Casey Stoner 3rd. Nicky Hayden and then Marco Melandri, the man who won the race here last year.
And the woes continuing for the Danton Ducati team with Jose Luis Cardoso coming into the pits to retire.
Yeah, not had the best of starts, have they, to MotoGP. Just to remind you, Sete Gibernau's last MotoGP victory was Qatar 2004. The man that was is currently down in 11th place said he would never win a Grand Prix race again. Valentino Rossi. Stoner closing on John Hopkins. Hayden and Melandri pretty close. Vermeulen hanging in there well in 6th place. And then we have Loris Capirossi and Danny Pedrosa. Through the start and finish complex. The left that brings them back into the start and finish straight. Gibernau crosses the line now. 16 laps to go. The gap about 0.3 of a second. Stoner getting closer and closer to Hopkins. Through the corkscrew, left and right, and then the long right-hander. Casey Stoner went home to Australia after the Qatar Grand Prix. Really has been a big crook. Some antibiotics, some fishing, some time at home. Really has got him back to physical strength.
And Gibernau, we can't forget the press conference yesterday, can we, Nick, where he's quick to point out that some people wrote him off and he was very determined this weekend to basically shut their mouths, and he's doing the best job possible at the moment.
I tell you, he's doing a very good job as well. Danny Pedrosa has now moved up into 7th place in front of Loris Capirossi. He is absolutely flying.
And also, we can't forget Melandri too. He was a bit of a struggle after winning this race last year. He knows his way around here and he knows he can do it, but certainly on the move at the moment.
10th place, Valentino Rossi. Colin Edwards 9th. Pedrosa now up into 7th place as he's just overtaken Loris Capirossi. At the front, Gibernau just opening up at a bit of an advantage. You get the feeling, certainly that the Hondas of Hayden and certainly the Hondas of Melandri and certainly the Hondas of Stoner really want to try and get past Hopkins, but Gibernau is getting away at the front. And Casey Stoner again has a little sniff up the inside of John Hopkins, but unable to do so. Now, if he's going to do it, this is maybe what he'll do it. Fastest part of the circuit, braking from 190 miles an hour down to first gear. Can Stoner do it? No, John Hopkins is really fierce on the brakes, and it's Nicky Hayden, in fact, that closes up on the rear wheel there of Marco Melandri closing up on the rear wheel of Casey Stoner, and Nicky Hayden also. Oh, Nicky Hayden's gone up the inside of Marco Melandri in the first part of the complex. They come into the start and finish straight. Hayden could have moved up. Let's wait and see as they go across the start and finish line. Gibernau and Stoner now up into 2nd place. So Casey Stoner's done it. Stoner in 2nd place. Hopkins relegated to 3rd. Nicky Hayden 4th. Marco Melandri 5th. Danny Pedrosa absolutely flying. Her fastest lap of the race at 1:53.305. And I'm sure Gibernau will now be getting up the hurry up signs. Casey Stoner is after the man at the front, and Nicky Hayden has just moved into 3rd place.
That move of Stoner started on the entrance to the chicane before the pit straight. He forced Hopkins wide, and look at Hayden and Hopkins now. But while this is all going on, it's allowing Gibernau to eke out a bit of a lead, and Stoner's making the most of it as well.
Yeah, Gibernau's advantage over Stoner when they went over the start and finish line was just under 1 second. But I think, no disrespect, that John Hopkins was just slowing things up a little bit. Now the Hondas have got past him, they're going to set after the Ducati, and Hopkins loses 2 more places. Danny Pedrosa and Marco Melandri go past him. But Hopkins has done a good job at the front, but now dropping off the pace. Now can Stoner, Hayden, Melandri, and you've got to say Pedrosa start reeling in Gibernau at the front. That's the gap.
And another with the Suzukis, another thing with them is their power delivery. They've got a really peaky, narrow power band, which is very severe on their tyres as well, so maybe that's playing a part.
Danny Pedrosa after Marco Melandri. Pedrosa in 6th place, Melandri in 5th place. There are the 2 Suzukis together now, John Hopkins and Chris Vermeulen. Done a great job at the front when you feel their race at the front is well over. On the brakes, Nicky Hayden trying to get up the inside of Casey Stoner. He came from absolutely nowhere, and Nicky Hayden now up into 2nd place. Does he run it wide? Can Stoner get him back? He can! Casey Stoner says, I've ridden 250s, so I know what to do here. And Casey Stoner tries to take him back, but Nicky Hayden does a Casey Stoner on the last lap and hangs in there as they come through the left-hander, and Nicky Hayden moves into 2nd place.
And Stoner had to actually hesitate there, so he didn't run up and hit Hayden as he tried to get past him again. You might have noticed that he sat up just in the middle of that corner.
So Gibernau at the front, that gap now down to 7/10 of 1 second. And it's Nicky Hayden now leading the chase. Stoner in third place, Marco Melandri 4. Look out also for Danny Pedrosa, who's absolutely flying at the moment. Come from nowhere, the 250cc world champion. Spreads out a little bit behind them, but they are closing on Gibernau. The gap 7/10 of 1 second when they went through the start and finish line. They're up round this a long left-hander, then comes up to turn 7. That's the right at the top end of the circuit. Stoner now coming under real pressure from Nicky Hayden. Hayden up the inside, just hangs in there. Hayden hangs on to second place. Stoner fights back. Marco Melandri quite happy just to watch, and at the back of that lot is Danny Pedrosa, who is absolutely flying. What a race we've got. The Hondas in pursuit of the Ducati. Who's going to come out top with the Hondas? Can they catch the Ducati at the front? Hayden just about hangs in there from Casey Stoner, right on the left and right. Gibernau done a lot of hard work at the front. Now down for this very fast right-hander, 5th gear. Hayden's got Gibernau in his sights. Stoner still in 3rd place. Melandri 4. Pedrosa on the brakes, coming up the inside. Marco Melandri no way through. And Chris Vermeulen's done a really good job because he's at the back of that pack. And Chris Vermeulen is still in 6th place. Through the complex.
See Hayden's corner speed through there, running right up on the back of Stoner there, trying to get through. Sorry, it was Melandri. Pedrosa.
Gibernau still coming under pressure. 2nd place, Nicky Hayden. 3rd place now, Marco Melandri. Casey Stoner 4, Danny Pedrosa 5, Chris Vermeulen 6. Valentino Rossi still in 10th place. Major problems for the world champion.
And I've got Livio Sappo with me, Nick, the team manager of the Ducati Corse team. Livio, this is what Sede's been promising for quite a while.
He's doing a very good job. Now he's losing a little. Let's see what's happening.
What was the tyre choice he went for?
A little bit different from Loris and Sete. They are both on front tire, medium and hard rear for Sete opposite fronts.
Well, hopefully you can hang with it.
Thank you.
Livio Sappo, the team manager from Ducati, been playing his cards close to his chest, but Sede Gibernau is really taking the race by the horns and really trying to pull these guys away from him as he tries to break out a lead.
Well, Danny Pedrosa and Casey Stoner had a tremendous 250cc race last year. They're continuing that in MotoGP, but it's Pedrosa that's got in front of the Australian. Marco Melandri in front of Nicky Hayden. Melandri won the race here last year in 2nd place. Nicky Hayden 3rd. Danny Pedrosa now 4th. Casey Stoner in 5th place. And still Sete Gibernau leads the way. There's a tremendous performance by Melandri, who looked very unhappy in the wet qualifying yesterday. And here comes Pedrosa up the inside of Nicky Hayden and goes past him. Danny Pedrosa moves into 3rd place. Pedrosa is absolutely flying. So Pedrosa now up into 3rd place. Casey Stoner having to work very hard to hang in there with them at the moment. Long way to go when they cross the line. It's still 12 laps. Past my commentary position. And really now, Gibernau under big pressure. Less than 1/10 of a second, and Marco Melandri has taken the lead as they go into the corkscrew. Marco Melandri won his first ever MotoGP race here last year, takes the lead. Sete Gibernau in 2nd place. Danny Pedrosa 3rd. Nicky Hayden 4th. Casey Stoner 5. Chris Vermeulen in 6th place. We then have Caparossi, Edwards, Rossi up into 9th. Elias Hopkins, Ricardo De Prunier, Tamada, Kenny Roberts Jr. completing the last of the point scorers in 15th place. Melandri really is on a charge at the front.
In the pit box for Nicky Hayden's pit board, he's had 3 different names on it in 3 laps. It's Stoner, Melandri and Pedrosa now laying on the ground, and they're waiting until the last moment before they put the next one in.
That's the sort of race it is. Marco Melandri leads the way. You won't forget that Grand Prix victory here last year when he rode quite brilliantly to beat Valentino Rossi and Nicky Hayden. Here is Nicky Hayden, currently lying in 3rd place. Having to work very hard indeed to keep Nicky Hayden at bay. Danny Pedrosa is absolutely flying. And Danny Pedrosa is so good on the brakes here, he could take the lead from Marco Melandri, not quite able to do so. Hayden has a back wheel out. Marco Melandri leads. Danny Pedrosa in 2nd place. Pedrosa closing up all the time. Pedrosa, one would imagine, is going to take the lead any moment now. 11.5 laps to go. Up over the rise. sixth gear, now down for the gearbox. Pedrosa's lining him up to take the lead. Pedrosa on the brakes, he crashed her in the wet yesterday. No such problems this time round. Danny Pedrosa runs it wide, and Marco Melandri hangs on to first place. The Angels have runs it a bit wide. Casey Stoner is back in fourth.
Just the amazing turnaround now. They've got a dry track, like you said, Nick. Pedrosa struggling to qualify 16th. Melandri 14th. Now the pair of them leading the race.
This really is anybody's race. Anybody can win this one. Valentino Rossi has got in front of Tony Elias, and he's got in front of his teammate Colin Edwards, and he's now up into 8th place. Very important points for Valentino Rossi. If he remains in 8th place, he will be the highest point scorer ever in history of Grand Prix motorcycle racing. At the front, they're not worried about these statistics. They're worried about who is going to win the race. Marco Melandri still leading the way from Danny Pedrosa.
John Hopkins in the pits to change the rear tyre.
Oh, poor old John Hopkins. Looked absolutely brilliant at the front, but now in the pits.
And you can see by the effect on the tyre, the way it is actually torn and it's slithered by the way the power comes onto the bike that has actually really shredded the tyre. So he's jumping on the bike now and about to head off, but you can see
John Hopkins running second for a long time in this race, but now in the pits to change that rear tyre. At the front, Marco Melandri and Danny Pedrosa, two former 250cc world champions, absolutely side by side. And I think it was Melandri who just held the button. Chris Bermuda is absolutely flying in 6th place, fighting off the panic there of Loris Capirossi. Marco Melandri still hangs in there. Only just 2 MotoGP victories. One here last year. And here comes Danny Pedrosa again. It's that first part of the complex on the brakes. Pedrosa up the inside. He's going to take the lead this time. But can he hold it in there? He did it last time and then ran it a bit wide. This time he hasn't run it wide. Danny Pedrosa, I think, will lead the way as they come into the start and finish straight with 10 laps to go. What a performance by the 250cc world champion. He's beating the former 250cc world champion as they cross the line. His great mentor, Alberto Puig, the former Grand Prix star, looks on. Must be very proud indeed. 125cc world champion, double 250cc world champion, and now he leads the Grand Prix of Turkey with 9 3/4 laps to go, and he's opening up a bit of an advantage. Nicky Hayden's still in 3rd place, 4th Casey Stoner, 5th Chris Bermuda, 6th Sede Gibernau dropping off the pace, Loris Capirossi in 7th, Valentino Rossi 8th, Tony Elias 9th, Colin Edwards 10th, Meccano 11th, the 28 12th, 13th Tamada, 14th Kenny Roberts, and 15th Alex Hoffman.
Nick, I've got Chris Herring with me because from press officer from Repsol Honda, as Alberto Puig doesn't like talking during the race. Chris really found something in the morning warm-up after what happened yesterday in the qualifying.
Well, on Friday, really, Mark. You know, it's going okay in the drive on Friday. The rain was so spotty yesterday, and Danny was confident to win in the rain. Thankfully, that hasn't affected today. You know, 16th to where he is now is probably incredibly good.
Yeah, it is, and especially to get through the field that he has got through.
Yeah, taking his time. You know, he's obviously thought about it. He's a very, very thoughtful rider. He brain like a computer, and there he is. You know, just so he's good running together.
And great for the young one.
Yeah, I mean, they're all battling and sometimes tripping each other up, but you know, at the moment everything's going okay.
All right, best of luck.
Danny Pedrosa leads the way. Could he be securing his first ever MotoGP victory and only his 3rd MotoGP appearance? His teammate Nicky Hayden says, I've got to do something about it. Gets up the inside of Marco Melandri, takes over 2nd place. Casey Stoner is also in there, runs it wide. Oh, did they touch? Well, I don't know if they touched or not, but it didn't matter to Nicky Hayden because he's come on to 2nd place. Yes! Into the start and finish straight. Repsol Honda fly the flag. They lead the way. They're 1 and 2. But what a race we've got for 2nd place. Casey Stoner now trying to get up the inside of Marco Melandri, not able to do so. But while this happens, Danny Pedrosa will keep going at the front, and Nicky Hayden knows that, and Nicky Hayden knows now he's got to send up after him. And Pedrosa will break away at the front, as he used to do in those 250cc races, and nobody will catch him.
It's interesting, Nick, these leading quartet have all got the same tyre combination, a soft at the front and a medium at the rear, so it's just a matter of who can conserve their tyres the most.
Wow. Certainly the way they're riding, nobody would imagine they're preserving their tyres too much, would they? Because this is another super race.
And James Ellison just came in to change a Dunlop, and it looks like Alex Hoffman is coming in and retiring is with the Danton Ducati as well.
tyre problems for Bridgestone and Dunlop. We ride with Valentino Rossi, and Rossi now sitting after Sete Gibernau. So these two great rivals, more used to contesting races at the front. This time they're contesting 7th place. It's a very, very important 7th place for the pair of them. Yamaha, good ball. Hasn't been the best of weekend for them so far. But he's going to get past Sete Gibernau up the inside as he Valentino Rossi. He's got Loris Capirossi in his sights. He could move up into 6th place any moment now. Rossi is absolutely flying. He's not going to win the race, but he's going to pick up some very valuable points. But at the front, Danny Pedrosa still leads the way from teammate Nicky Hayden. Marco Melandri still 3rd, Casey Stoner 4th. It does appear to me the gap's about 8/10 of a second, but at the moment Hayden is making no impression on Pedrosa at the front.
It looks like Pedrosa moving slightly wide there in the last section as they come onto the straight. We'll see what drive he can get, but he slowly gets it out there as they come past out.
8 laps to go. Danny Pedrosa's lead is 7/10 of 1 second over his teammate Nicky Hayden. We then have Melandri, Stoner, Vermeulen. This is Chris Vermeulen. Loris Capirossi coming under more and more pressure from Valentino Rossi. Behind Valentino Rossi, Tony Elias and Sete Gibernau dropping off the pace after leading in the early stages. Then we have Colin Edwards, Shinji Nakano 11, Randy DePunier 12, Tamada 13, Kenny Roberts 14, and Alex Hoffman, who I believe has just retired, so that probably moved Carlos Checa up into 15th place. Casey Stoner desperately trying to get past Marco Melandri, trying absolutely everything he knows. But at the moment, Melandri holding firm in 3rd place. There's Chris Vermeulen, who is 5th. And Valentino Rossi has moved into 6th place now in front of Loris Capirossi. He's now got Chris Vermeulen in his sights.
8 laps to go, Nick. Where can Valentino Rossi end up? He's just slowly been chipping away and getting closer to the front, but I don't know if he's going to catch this leading bunch.
Well, Pedrosa leads the way. We ride with Valentino Rossi in 7th place.
Well, it's interesting looking at the telemetry on board there, the difference where Melandri and Rossi are on the track.
Pedrosa, Hayden, Melandri and Stoner. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Stoner still in 4th place, still trying to get past Marco Melandri. Through that very fast right-hander up into 6th gear. Now they're going to break for the complex. Stoner not close enough. Hayden just closes a little bit on Danny Pedrosa. He brings Melandri and Stoner along with him. I think this race has still got a long way to go. Just over 7 laps. Just get the feeling Hayden might bring these two along as well. Great day for Honda though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chris Vermeulen in 5th place, but he in turn coming under real pressure from Valentino Rossi. It could put the Yamaha up any moment now into 5th place. There is Vermeulen, there is Rossi behind them. Loris Capirossi and Sete Gibernau started with such confidence, just dropping back down to the field. But we can't speak highly enough about Chris Vermeulen. He may have qualified in the wet in pole position, but he has ridden quite brilliantly in the dry. But very interesting indeed that his teammate John Hopkins has come in and had to change a rear tyre, but Chris Vermeulen at the moment seemingly having no problems at all.
And Hayden taking 2/10 of a second out of Pedrosa during that lap, so is Hayden closing it down, or has Pedrosa gone through his tyres too fast?
Only time will tell. Casey Stoner still after Marco Melandri. It's a tremendous performance though by Danny Pedrosa. A nasty crash yesterday, didn't enjoy the wet at all, but in the dry as he showed both in Qatar and of course that opening Grand Prix of the season in Jerez, just how good he is going to be in this MotoGP class. Second, of course, in Jerez, and the hopes of Spain rest very firmly on his shoulders. Nicky Hayden in 2nd place, desperate to win his 2nd Grand Prix. He won that 3rd one in front of the home crowd at Laguna Seca. Marco Melandri, 2 Grand Prix victories, the first one here. Casey Stoner, the winner of the 250cc race here last year. It's a wonderful mix, isn't it? Casey Stoner again thinks about trying to get the inside of Marco Melandri, but just not able to do so. But on the brakes this time, certainly Nicky Hayden really closes up on Danny Pedrosa. This is going to be a 4-way battle to the finish. When they cross the line, there will be 6 laps to go. This magnificent Istanbul Park circuit, 3.318 miles, so just over 13 miles left. And this is going to be a race to the checkered flag. And Hayden certainly closing all the time. The gap now less than 2/10 of 1 second. Rossi and Vermeulen almost side by side, but Rossi now has moved up into 5th place. One would imagine that will have to be it for Valentino Rossi. But a superb ride by the world champion, picking up world championship points. Now it's all happening at the front.
This is going to be one sensational finish of the race, similar to the 250. Well, hopefully not as dramatic, but Hayden has taken nearly half a second out in the last couple of laps. So, and he's dragged the other two with him. Melandri and Stoner are no way out of this race at the moment.
They certainly are not. 5.5 to go. Pedrosa, here comes Melandri up the inside of Hayden. Whoa, I think he caught him a little bit by surprise. The fastest lap of the race also for Marco Melandri. The fastest lap of the race at 1:53.261 for Marco Melandri. He caught me by surprise. I think he caught Nicky Hayden by surprise. Marco Melandri wants to repeat his victory of last season. Casey Stoner just sits it out in 4th place. Looking very comfortable, very composed. His moment will come before the end. We're absolutely sure of that. And here comes Stoner as we speak. Stoner has pushed Hayden back to 4th place and now moves into 3rd. So Hayden, who was absolutely flying, closed right up, did all the donkey work to catch up at Danny Pedrosa at the front. He was 2nd, now he's 4th, and having to work very hard to stay in there.
Well, he's just been mugged twice in about 3 corners by the youngsters, so here comes Melandri as well.
Melandri on the brakes, goes past Danny Pedrosa. Marco Melandri leads the way. Stoner closes on Pedrosa, but Marco Melandri leads the race for the first time. Now Stoner sets himself up for the complex. Has he set himself up for the left-hander? No, I don't think he's quite close enough. No. Danny Pedrosa will hang on to 2nd place. You're absolutely right, Mark. This could go absolutely anywhere. Oh, Danny Pedrosa gets the front wheel of the Honda in the air. Casey Stoner says, OK, you keep the front wheel in the air and I will move into 2nd place. Stoner now up into 2nd place. We could be looking at that Freddie Spencer record even yet.
Well, they were exactly the same age, days and years, so it's amazing. The team there of Stoner looking at the monitors. I thought Stoner was going to have a good look then.
So Casey Stoner in 2nd place. Marco Melandri leads the way. 3rd now is Danny Pedrosa, who did a lot of the hard work at the front. And Nicky Hayden, who also has done his share of all the hard work, now in 4th place and having to work very, very hard to stay with these youngsters at the front. Stoner thinks about stinging up the inside of Marco Melandri. You've got to say, Mark, Casey Stoner looks very composed there in 2nd place at the moment.
Yeah, well, we've seen in the previous races, the guys that usually hang behind and just watch what's going in front tend to save their tyres and see what else, where the other guys are a bit weak or where their strengths are. So this could be a repeat performance in the MotoGP class.
Look at that, Valentino Rossi now up into 5th place. I think that is it for Valentino Rossi. He's not going to catch these at the front. Stoner now alongside Marco Melandri on the brakes. Can Stoner take the lead? Not quite. Danny Pedrosa back in the hunt. Nicky Hayden back in the hunt. Just look at Valentino Rossi. He is absolutely flying. Goes past Tony Elias up into 5th place. He'd love to be involved in this particular battle. He'd be right in the middle of it, but he's not in the middle of it. The new names of MotoGP there, and Casey Stoner is going to take the lead. It's in. Casey Stoner on the brakes has moved up the inside of Marco Melandri. Stoner leads the way. The 20-year-old Australian leads a Grand Prix once again. Stoner leads. Pedrosa in 3rd place. Nicky Hayden 4th. Marco Melandri relegated to 2nd. Into the start and finish straight. 4 laps to go. Casey Stoner leads the Grand Prix of Turkey.
Well, I think, Nick, that Casey Stoner learned a lot in Qatar. In Qatar, he went from the start and tried to break their back. This race, he just settled in, watched what everybody else is doing and making his move when it counts at the end of the race.
Casey Stoner, 3.5 laps to go. The Australian, in only his 3rd appearance in MotoGP, leads the Grand Prix of Turkey. He won the 250cc race here last year. Can he win a MotoGP race at the same circuit? Stoner, Melandri, Pedrosa, Hayden, Rossi 5th, Elias 6th, Vermeulen going 1 and 7, 8th Caparossi, the championship leader, 9th Edwards, 10th Nakano, 11th Gimeno, 12th Tamada, 13th De Prunier, 14th Kenny Roberts, and Alex Hoffman in 15th place.
Nick, I'll just have a quick word with Lucio Ciccanillo, Casey Stoner's team manager. He's running this race to perfection, Lucio.
Yes, he's doing very well at the moment. Of course, I cannot say anything about at this moment because, of course, it's 3 laps to the end, and first position, so
But he learned a lot at Qatar. He led early there and went backwards, but this race he has waited till the right moment.
yeah, I think that he did a really, really great job with the team and he improved a lot. Also, all the technical stuff find a very good setup in his bike, so we are very, very happy.
Okay, thanks, Lucio.
Yeah, a brave man talking to Lucio, because there's a lot of prayers going on down there on pit wall. Casey Stoner leads the way, followed by Marco Melandri, Danny Pedrosa and Nicky Hayden. Into the start and finish straight, 3 laps to go. What is the gap? The gap is 0.6 of 1 second. Stoner brake and throttle on the brakes. We've come comparing with Pedrosa. Obviously on the front just a little bit early. It leads the way. Marco Melandri now down in 4th place. Nicky Hayden's got past him. Danny Pedrosa still in 2nd place. Nicky Hayden knows that he's got to have a go at any moment now. It's going to be too late. Here we go. Nicky Hayden up the inside of Marco Melandri, then onto the brakes. Turkish corkscrew, as we call it.
Melandri didn't get the drive out of that final corner that Hayden did, and it was that's why he swept past him so easily.
Casey Stoner now coming under a little bit of pressure. But he's used to pressure. He won the 250cc race here last year. 2.5 laps to go for the Australian, the 20-year-old. Danny Pedrosa still in 2nd place. Marco Melandri 3rd.
Pedrosa and Stone had a great rivalry in the 250s. We could be seeing the continuation of this in MotoGP, or what could be the start of a long and rivalry over the next few years.
Nicky Hayden dropping off the pace. Nicky Hayden's dropping out of this particular battle. It was 4, now it's 3. Problems for Nicky Hayden. No problems for the man at the front. Casey Stoner through the chicane still leads the way. Danny Pedrosa 2nd, Marco Melandri 3rd. But Nicky Hayden obviously has had problems through the very, very fast right-hander. This is where Casey Stoner crashed yesterday. This is where Marco Melandri has not crashed, but this is where Danny Pedrosa crashed yesterday. Marco Melandri moves into 2nd place. Melandri pushes Pedrosa back to 3rd. When they come through the complex, past our commentary box window, there will be 2 laps to go for Casey Stoner and Australia. Can he do it? Can he win the MotoGP Grand Prix here in Turkey? It's going to be very, very close indeed. We ride with Danny Pedrosa. That's Marco Melandri in front of him. Just got a glimpse there of Nicky Hayden in 4th place. Valentino Rossi still 5th. Tony Elias across the line in 6th place. Well, I think this will go any way of 3. I don't think that's a particularly brave man making that assumption. Any one of these 3 could win this race. It's Casey Stoner that still leads the way. Started the last MotoGP race in pole position. He eventually finished 5th. Lucio Cecchinello, a man that really has put Casey Stoner where he is. Nearly top of the MotoGP tree. So proud of him. 2 very, very different characters, but they really have gelled. Stoner still leads. Marco Melandri desperate to repeat his Grand Prix victory of last season. And Danny Pedrosa, like Casey Stoner, chasing his first ever MotoGP victory, the current 250cc world champion. Him and Stoner had a rare old battle in the 250cc class here last October. But is Pedrosa close enough to mount a challenge to Stoner? We wait and see. Down the hill, into the left and right. Turn 9. Got to get a really good drive out of this, because then you've got this very fast 160 mile an hour right-hander coming up now. Melandri took it in 6th gear by mistake last year and almost crashed. They take it flat out in 5th, momentarily up into 6th, now down to the gearbox and brake for the complex. You've got to say, I don't think Melandri is close enough to get through to Stoner this time round. Pedrosa trying to go around the outside. He will have the advantage there when they flick it right, but Pedrosa not able to get through. That will help Stoner.
No, he went the long way around there, Nick. That was a move destined not to work, because Melandri had the line and got the drive out, and that's put Pedrosa right back at the moment.
1 lap to go. 5.340 kilometres. 3.318 miles for Casey Stoner. Can he win his first ever MotoGP Grand Prix? And down goes Danny Pedrosa. Pedrosa has gone down from 2nd place. From 3rd place. Marco Melandri in 2nd place. That one moves Nicky Hayden up. Now, this is a straight fight between Marco Melandri and Casey Stoner. Danny Pedrosa has stepped out. He looks okay. Danny Pedrosa out of the race. 3/4 of a lap to go. Melandri starting to mount the pressure on Stoner at the front.
Stoner ran it wide there to get good drive through the last part of that left-hander. We'll see if we can. And look at Melandri coming through now.
Marco Melandri closing on the Australian. Melandri chasing Grand Prix victory number 3 in the MotoGP class. Casey Stoner chasing Grand Prix victory number 1. Melandri, without a shadow of a doubt, will have a go. Will Stoner be able to rebuff him? Will Stoner perhaps be able to retake the lead? We wait to see. Half a lap to go here at the Grand Prix of Turkey. This magnificent Istanbul Park circuit. Casey Stoner, less than half a lap now for the 20-year-old Australian. Through the chicane. Now the fearsome fast right-hander coming up. Stoner wants to be a good bit in front of Melandri though when they break for the complex. The left, right and left that brings them back in the start and finish straight. This is where the race will be decided, ladies and gentlemen. Down the straight they come, on the brakes. Melandri trying to get up the inside, is he going to get through? Marco Melandri tries to go through. Stoner holds the advantage. They go left, now they go right. Melandri is taking the advantage. Marco Melandri leads the way. Just the left-hander now for Marco Melandri. Can Stoner fight back? Marco Melandri could make it Grand Prix victory number 3. Marco Melandri is going to win the Grand Prix of Turkey here in Istanbul. Casey Stoner, what a ride into second place. Nicky Hayden in third place. And what a performance by Valentino Rossi fourth. And Tony Elias fifth. Marco Melandri is back in business.
Oh, I might know Marco Melandri's champions, and I've got Lucio Cecchinello. Lucio, congratulations, your first podium with Casey in the MotoGP.
Yeah, of course. We are everybody very, very happy. A little bit disappointed for the last corner, but this doesn't mean that Casey didn't do a super wonderful job, and this is fantastic for Casey, for the team, and for everybody who working very hard for go ahead with this project.
Good on you, and go and see him down in Parc Ferme. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Danny Pedrosa coming across the line now in 14th place. He could have won the race, couldn't he, Danny Pedrosa? But down he went in turn 1.
Yeah, Nick, I saw that before the previous lap through the one of the left-handers at the back. You could see his front tucking a bit as he was sliding through the track, so he was really on the limits of adhesion with his front tyre, with the soft tyre, using too much of it. And as we saw going through that off-camber first corner, it was all too much for it.
Danny Pedrosa down but not out, eventually finishing the race in 14th place. But what a victory for Marco Melandri. Tony Elias just giving the thumbs up with Casey Stoner. Great ride by Casey Stoner. I think Lucio Cecchinello will probably echo the way Casey Stoner feels. They're winners. It was a fantastic ride by Casey Stoner, but I think we felt, I'm sure Casey Stoner felt, he might have won that race. Now he's taken out to Valentino Rossi. What a performance by Rossi. From absolutely nowhere, nearly caught Nicky Hayden at the finish, didn't he? And finishes in 4th place. We've had an absolutely, truly amazing day's racing here in Turkey. 125, 250, and a fabulous, fabulous MotoGP race. And Nicky Hayden on the podium for the 7th successive time. But knowing Nicky Hayden as well, I don't think he'll be too happy. Though my quick mathematics tell me that Nicky Hayden should now be leading the World Championship. So Nicky Hayden may be disappointed at not winning the race, but for the first time Nicky Hayden will be leading the MotoGP World Championship. But the man back in form is Marco Melandri. Melandri making his way back. The Italian flag proudly on his back. 23-year-old, of course, former 250cc world champion. Finished runner-up last year in the MotoGP World Championship. Won those last 2 Grand Prix here in Turkey and in Valencia. But now really back to his best. He's absolutely blown the championship wide open. It is going to be a superb World Championship this year. 3 separate winners. Loris Capirossi, Valentino Rossi, and now Marco Melandri. And the only thing about them is it's 3 Italians. Nicky Hayden leads the World Championship. I think you can see from his crew chief, Pete Benson, as well. A few problems for Nicky Hayden. Just at the end of the race, he just dropped off the pace a bit. But he hung in there, didn't he? And when Danny Pedrosa went down, Nicky Hayden very, very happy indeed to take over a podium finish. Valentino Rossi, fine ride by the world champion into 4th place. He is now the highest point scorer in the history of Grand Prix motorcycle racing.
Just down here in Park Flumo, Nick and Fausto Grassini, the manager of the Marco Melandri, is wiping the sweat away. He's still shaking, I think, after that dramatic race, and we've got to take our hats off to the layout of this Turkish circuit. This really goes well for racing.
Certainly does, doesn't it? Danny Pedrosa back in his pit box. He'll be disappointed, but he showed he can run with those front runners, can't he? He really can run with them. Here we are, just going to lose the front end, tucks under. Turn 1 on the last lap. All that work throughout the weekend, all that tremendous ride in the race. 3rd place was there, but he's afraid back in his pit box, but typically ran back to pick up the bike and still finished 14th fastest. Here comes the man in question into pit lane. Marco Melandri wins his 3rd Grand Prix of his MotoGP career, his first race win of the season. You've got to say, that was one hell of a race. I think he's letting his engine do the talking. There is Fausto Grassini.
And just as all this is happening, John Hopkins is pushing his bike back, so that's just made it to the finish.
John Hopkins finishing 17th fastest. Good ride by Chris Vermeulen in the 7th place. Qualified in pole, of course, in the wet. Really hung in there in the dry. This is a very strong company there behind Loris Capirossi in front of Shinya Nakano. I'd say that's a fabulous performance, but the day belongs to Marco Melandri. The day belongs to his Grassini Honda team. And who knows now what is going to happen in the World Championship with Nicky Hayden taking over the lead from Loris Capirossi. I think everybody's pretty pleased about that particular victory.
Well, he's been struggling at the beginning of the year, but came back, and he probably now would go into his favourite circuit of all time. 2 wins and 1 in the 250s, and now in the MotoGP class.
Casey Stoner, what an attempt by Casey Stoner to win that race. Eventually finishing in 2nd place, his first podium finish in MotoGP, and the boy is absolutely flying. Nicky Hayden, 3rd for Nicky. Problems at the end of the race, but when Danny Pedrosa went down, he was happy to take his 7th successive podium finish. Very important indeed, the fact that he has taken over the lead in the World Championship. The last American to do that, one would imagine, would have been Kenny Roberts Jr. the year he won the 500cc title back in 2000. Martin Raines is probably sitting at home in Hull. He's probably going to prove me wrong the time we reach China. Great scenes here at Istanbul Park. And there we are, confirmation of the result. 200th of 1 second between Marco Melandri and Casey Stoner. Nicky Hayden 3rd. A fantastic ride by Valentino Rossi into 4th place. Tony Elias 5th. That was a good ride by him also. Loris Capirossi a disappointing 6th. Chris Vermeulen excellent 7th. Good solid ride by Shinya Nakano into 8th place. Colin Edwards 9, Kodo Tamada 10, Sete Gibernau led the way for so long 11, Randy Depunier 12, Kenny Roberts Jr. 13, Danny Pedrosa, despite that crash on the last lap, 14, Carlos Checa picking up a lone point in 15th place. Sadly, poor old John Hopkins put on a fabulous show early in the race, really pushed hard in 2nd place, rear tyre problems. I'm afraid then he dropped out of the reckoning and out of the points. There we go. Wow. Nicky Hayden leads the World Championship for the very first time by 1 single point from Loris Capirossi. Marco Melandri 3rd, a further 7 points adrift. Casey Stoner 4th in the MotoGP World Championship.
Casey Stoner, congratulations, what a hard-fought race. You said to me yesterday you didn't expect to see this for a while, and you certainly got there quick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I almost had this race, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way. But still a dream come true to be on the podium of a MotoGP race, and only my 3rd race yet. So we're slowly moving up there, and hopefully in the races ahead we can keep improving. If not, then I'm just going to have to work harder.
How much did guitar teach you from leading early to sit back and just watch what everybody else was doing?
Guitar, I was just sick. I had no energy the whole race, so I was just pretty much hanging in there the whole way. This race, I was there, I was focused. I was there 100% through the race, and I could pretty much just plan it from there.
And the end of the back straight, you must have been at the limit of your tyres trying to hang on to the last lap?
Pretty much, I was just come on there pretty hard and hooking it, leaning over a fair bit, and then I was just basically trying not to let the back rear break away coming into that hairpin, and unfortunately Melandri was a little bit better on the brakes there, and that's the way it goes.
You know you can do it now, can't you?
Yeah, it's a big confidence boost for me now, and I thought I can do all these practice and they're really easy, and in the Thursday press conference, Valentino said I just need to learn how to ride on old tyres, and I corrected him, the fact that I was sick at guitar. Today I think I was probably the most confident on the old tyres today.
Enjoy it, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Casey Stoner. We now watch the highlights of another great MotoGP race. It was Sete Gibernau that led the way. Casey Stoner up into second place, coming under real pressure though from Nicky Hayden. Marco Melandri also there, making a tremendous start from very near the back row of the grid. But Gibernau really flying at the front, but the pack after him, and after him big style. Marco Melandri moving up into third place in front of Casey Stoner. Spreading out all over the place. Marco Melandri takes the lead for the first time. They go into turn one. Chris Vermeulen really hanging in there well on the Suzuki after starting from pole position. Melandri then coming under pressure from Nicky Hayden, and then Danny Pedrosa. Danny Pedrosa takes the lead. 250cc world champion. Rossi absolutely carving his way through the field after the problems he had earlier. But at the front, Danny Pedrosa leads the way. Casey Stoner moves into third place. Nicky Hayden relegated to fourth. And then Marco Melandri takes the lead. Casey Stoner then back in front. What a fabulous end to the race that this is going to be. Melandri leads from Stoner. Stoner then dives up the inside. Casey Stoner now leads the way, chasing his first MotoGP victory. Pedrosa and Hayden looking threatening. Danny Pedrosa goes down, turn one on the last lap. There were four, now there are three, but Nicky Hayden's off the pace. Straight fight between Stoner and Melandri. Stoner tries all he knows, but Melandri just holds the advantage into that start and finish complex. Danny Pedrosa rides back onto the track. And Marco Melandri wins the Grand Prix of Turkey. Casey Stoner secures his first ever MotoGP podium. Nicky Hayden third, and Valentino Rossi in fourth place.
Have you seen three better races in a long time, Nick?
I certainly haven't. Congratulations to Marco Melandri, the winner here in Turkey, and the World Championship wide open. Nicky Hayden leading the way. Well, it's Grand Prix Racing's only second appearance on two wheels in Turkey. How the crowd have enjoyed it, and I hope back at home throughout the world you've enjoyed it. It really doesn't get a lot better than what we've seen today. The podium awaits the arrival of Marco Melandri, Casey Stoner and Nicky Hayden.
I think if the riders have got anything to do with that, Nick will be coming to Turkey for many years to come.
Three as good races as you'd really want to see. Alvaro Batista not winning the 125, that was a big shock. A dramatic 250cc race, an end that you could never guess what happens at the end. I'm not telling you what happened. And then a fabulous MotoGP race with Marco Melandri just pipping Casey Stoner at the finish to win, and Nicky Hayden, who's now coming onto the podium in third place. And Nicky Hayden leads the World Championship for the first time. Casey Stoner arrives. Marco Melandri arrives with the obligatory shades. Nicky Hayden shakes his hand. But Marco Melandri is back, there's no doubt about that. Fausto Grassini, and behind Marco Melandri's success, behind him was a former world champion himself.
Right, Nicky, Casey and Marco third. Yeah.
Sam Lyon issuing the instructions, getting the riders out there on time and in the right position. Nicky Hayden in third place. Casey Stoner for the first time on a MotoGP podium, but the afternoon belongs to Marco Melandri.
Sevgili konuklar, değerli misafirler, ladies and gentlemen, we invite General Director of Youth and Sports.
So the final presentation of a marvellous afternoon of Grand Prix motorcycle racing for MotoGP, and in third place, Nicky Hayden, the new leader in the World Championship. Mehmet Atalay, the Minister in charge of Youth Sports. Certainly there's some youthful faces up on that podium at the moment. Hayden looks a little bit disappointed, but you do feel that Nicky Hayden will not be too disappointed when he looks at that World Championship chart position.
The trophy of the second packet, Casey Stoner from Australia.
Casey Stoner in second place, his first ever podium finish in the MotoGP class. So nearly won the race. He is going to win a MotoGP race before the end of this season. I think we're all absolutely sure about that.
I'll put my money on China. He won there last year, Nick.
And the man of the moment, back in top form after a disappointing start to the season, is the former 250cc world champion. He was runner-up in the MotoGP World Championship last year. He secured his first ever victory here in Turkey. He's repeated the toast. It's Marco Melandri. Well, it really has blown the World Championship wide open, hasn't it? Melandri now right back in form. I think we thought he was going to be, we knew he was going to be a championship contender this year after his fine displays last year. And it's just been a little slow coming, but now he's on full charge. And it's his team manager, the man behind the team, the former Grand Prix winner and world champion himself, Fausto Grissini.
General Manager Muzaffer Akpınar takıma ödülünü vermek üzere onu da podyuma davet ediyoruz.
Fausto Grissini winning the team prize. So, no Spanish national anthem this time round. It's the Italian national anthem for Marco Melandri. Marco Melandri is back, ladies and gentlemen. Casey Stoner surely going to win that first Grand Prix in the MotoGP class before long. And Nicky Hayden leads the World Championship for the very first time. What a day we've had in Turkey. Let the champagne flow. They don't want to bring it for Marco Melandri. I'm sure he's not going to spread over the girls that bring it. I'm sure he wouldn't do that.
No, he'd never do that, would he, Nick?
No. Here we come. Loud music, pretty girls, and a MotoGP day, a 125 day, and a 250cc day. Never to be forgotten here in Istanbul. Congratulations to Marco Melandri, Casey Stoner and Nicky Hayden. Warm handshake between Melandri and Stoner. We've already seen Melandri and Hayden exchange pleasantries. It's rough and tough out on the track. These guys have got ultimate respect for each other. When they ride the way they have done today, you can understand exactly why.
Sevgili misafirler, değerli konuklar, Nicky Hayden mücadele 3. sırada tamamladı. Alkışlar Hayden'a.